Good morning to you and welcome to the service of worship with the community at Mount Vernon Place United Methodist Church in downtown Washington, D.C. My name is Donna Claycomb Sokol, and I have the great joy and privilege of being the pastor of this congregation. And we are so delighted and grateful that you have been led to join us today. We love knowing who you are, something that is harder to do in this virtual reality since we can't see one another, at least we can't see you. And one of the ways that we can see you is by you taking a minute to complete a virtual Connect card. It can be found on our website at mvpumc.org on the live stream portion. If you'll scroll down and see I'm here, it's there that you can let us know that you're with us today. You can also complete or share with us joys or ways that we can be in prayer with you on this day and in the days to come. You can also sign up for our weekly email. We never, ever add you to it without your asking to be added to it. So please don't allow that factor or possibility to prevent you from completing a card. We promise you we won't inundate you with messages, but we do love knowing that you have been with us on this day. I have a few announcements. First of all, it's the fourth Sunday of the month, which means that we have virtual coffee and conversation immediately following today's service of worship in a different Zoom room. If you'd like to be part of that gathering, you can email Lee, L-E-E, at mvpumc.org, and he can share that with you. We also have a small group study today, Scripture Through the Lens of Queer Art, that starts at 1 o'clock this afternoon. Lee can also share that link with you. You're abundantly welcome to be with us for that. And then tomorrow, we have a new opportunity for our children to engage with Lee at 3 o'clock in the afternoon for Adventure Story Time with a whole new study starting this afternoon. So Lee can include you on that. And finally, I want to offer one more plug for a virtual retreat that we'll have on Zoom on Sunday afternoon, November the 15th, based upon a new book called Another Way: Living and Leading Change on Purpose. We'll have two of the three authors of that book with us, leading us. And one of the questions that we'll seek to uncover is, what is the work that your soul must have? What is it that makes you become fully alive? And we'll talk about that through the lens of the crossroads that we are now at, both as individuals in light of the season of multiple pandemics, and also as a congregation. We would love for you to be part of that. And Lee can give you information on that. I can too. And it would be an overwhelming joy and privilege to welcome you into that space. We do ask that you RSVP, and the earlier you RSVP, the better, as we want to get materials into your hands that will be shipping to you to make sure that you have those for the retreat on November 15th. So if you know already you're going to be with us, please go ahead and sign up for that, completing the RSVP link that was found in this week's weekly email, and that will also be in the upcoming one as well. You picked a great Sunday to be with us. We get to welcome 8 new people into the life of our church. We also get to sing God's praises and to prayerfully be re-centered once more into living the lives that God has called and created us to live. We're glad that you're here. And we want you to know that no matter where you have been this past week or where you have failed to be, no matter what you have said or what you have failed to say, no matter what you have done or what you have failed to do, and no matter whom you have loved or whom you have failed to love, you are abundantly welcomed into this space. And it's our hope and prayer that the one who calls you by name will encounter you just as you are, and then send you forth differently than when you first arrived. Welcome to MVP.
Good morning, my friends. My name's Timothy Nelson, and I serve this congregation as its director of music. And it's my great joy this morning to invite you to join me in beginning worship by singing a new version of an old song, "Oh, for 1,000 Tongues to Sing."
Good morning, church. My name is Lee Schreiber, and I serve as our Minister of Discipleship. And part of that role is getting to lead and serve with our children's ministry here at MVP, and to have the special privilege of being able to offer this children's blessing. And now I want to invite our MVP kids and young people to come close to the screen for this special moment. How many of you know what an excuse is? Have you ever heard a bad excuse? Have you ever heard a good excuse? Have you ever been accused of making too many excuses? An excuse is a reason or an explanation that someone puts forth to try and defend or justify a fault or an offense or a problem or bad behavior. If you remember from our children's blessing time a few weeks ago, we learned about the 10 Commandments and some of the rules that the Bible gives us. What do you think is the most important commandment? Maybe have no other gods except God. Maybe honor your mother and father. Maybe do not lie. Or maybe do not kill. What do you think? What would you do if I told you that the whole Bible, the whole thing, could be summed up in just one word? What do you think that word might be? Well, we learn from Jesus that it's love. And that is what the commandment is, actually. The most important thing we are to do is to love. Jesus described this and said that our first priority in our lives should be loving God with all of our heart, all of our mind, and all of our strength, and that we are to love our neighbor as much as we love ourselves. But you might be wondering, who's my neighbor? I had a conversation with my nephew Noah about that earlier this week. And so in our Bible lesson today, we hear a story from Jesus giving an example of who our neighbor might be and what it means to love your neighbor. This story, called The Good Samaritan, tells about a man who got robbed and beaten up and left on the side of the road by some bad thieves. And then Jesus begins to wonder who might stop and help the man. First and second, two holy men walk by, and they get so caught up in trying to follow all of their rules about purity rituals and staying clean and not touching blood that they ignore him and walk right on by on the far side of the road. But later, a Samaritan man came by. And now the Samaritans in Jesus' time were not very popular or well liked, especially by the people that Jesus was talking to. And they were considered the bad guys who didn't follow any of the rules of Jewish law and who weren't respected. But the Samaritan stopped. And not only did he stop, but he helped the man. He put bandages on his wounds. He put the man on his donkey, and he took him to an inn, and he gave the innkeeper money and told him to take care of whatever the man needed, and that if he didn't have enough money, he would come back and pay him more. He didn't make any excuses.